If you know anything about trees, just turn off your show. But if you want to know more about trees and life in Vermont with the arbors, Tom Ward is the man to know. How did you get into this?
I grew up in California at a Forest Service ranger station. My dad was a Forest Service ranger, and I realized that I wanted to be outside, and I loved the forest. So
how did you learn about everything in Vermont? Because redwoods are not exactly what we have here as the maple.
No, but I spent 13 years in Alaska. And
that would be above the tree line.
Actually, no. It was similar forest in some ways, spruce and paper birch.
Really?
Yeah. Some of the same trees, tamarack.
What were you doing up there?
Forestry. Yeah. Tree planting, forest management. Yeah.
Well, when you see something clear cut all the way down to the lake, what do you think?
Well, it depends. Because sometimes there's a reason. There was a big windstorm that blew all the trees down, or there was an insect or disease that was killing the trees and we want to start over.
Okay, and I'm going to say I'm not a proponent of clear cutting.
No, and in most cases it's possible to do some kind of a selection cut and leave some of the canopy to regenerate the next stand, but in other cases, there's really not a good option. So there's a place for everything. It's a little bit like surgery.
I know, I know.
Nobody likes surgery, but sometimes that's what is necessary.
I went to an MWA meeting last spring.
Men for Make-Out Watersheds?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of tree experts there. And I had never realized that if I thinned up my forest, I'd be doing them a favor.
Yeah.
So I did this summer.
Uh-huh.
Got myself a chainsaw this big.
Yeah.
Scared to death of it. You know, it's terrible. Never do a pedicure with a chainsaw.
Oh.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But I cut down about 500 little saplings that were growing double in trees.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, I'm committing murder. Not at all.
No, because you're giving that space to a tree that could better use it.
That's how I explained it to myself, but I never knew that before.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there wants to know more so that your backyard can look a little bit better and the trees remaining stay a little healthier and happier because they need some space, well, we're about to learn how, and we're about to figure out which trees are what. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.
So Heather's done a very nice job of thinning out a young stand of trees here. I would guess that these trees are probably about maybe 15 or 20 years old, maybe 10, in that range anyway, 10 to 20 years old. And they came in so thick that you probably could barely walk through here before she thinned it. And then she took out what I would call the excess stems, but anyway, the trees that were crowding out the best trees. And I see she left some of what I would pick as the best choices: black cherry, red oak, sugar maple, and she probably thinned out a lot of red maple, maybe some ash, maybe a few other species, but she left the ones that will live the longest and produce other products like acorns from the oak trees, cherries from the black cherry, maybe some sugar maple, some maple syrup from the maples. So she very carefully picked the ones she wanted to keep and then gave them more room by taking out these excess trees. And now these trees will grow faster and they will persist. If you leave all these trees all crowded together here, you might lose the ones you want. You might lose the oaks. They might lose the race for the sky to a tree that you're not so fond of, like red maple. I like red maple, but you can have only so much red maple. You can have too much of a good thing, and red maple's a good example. It tends to come in really thick, and a lot of times you have more of it than anything else. And to get a little balance, you thin it out like Heather has done here. It's very nice.
Thank you. Anything, you know, I went to Sticks, and we went to Pick and Shovel, and they introduced me to a handheld battery-operated chainsaw.
Yeah.
And it was the most amazing thing I could possibly have purchased, and thank heavens for the Pick and Shovel, because when I didn't know what I was doing, I could always go there.
There's somebody there that has some expertise in just about anything you need to know.
And they don't make you feel stupid for being stupid.
Yeah, likewise.
So that's great. Anyway, I want to know, what should I do, or what should anyone do about these birch trees that are over here? Let's go over there and take a peek.
Okay.
Everywhere you see sticks out of the ground, I planted coniferous
Oh,
to replace any of the deciduous I took down. But this maple tree, what do you think the life expectancy? I mean, birch tree. What do you think the life expectancy of that might be?
it's relatively short, so maybe 50 years.
From now? It'll last 50 years?
Oh no, total.
Oh.
So maybe another 20 or 30.
Oh, how wonderful! Because I was expecting it to tumble down anytime.
No, I think it'll be around for a little while longer, but it's not one of the more long-lived trees that grow in our woods.
I had no idea they lived that long.
Yeah.
And, when I looked at it, I thought, should I take it down before it kills some of the other trees? But if it's going to last another 20 years, that'll be fine.
And it's good to have some variety. So, I was kind of hard on red maple, but you want some red maple, and the seeds are used by wildlife. Of course, the fall colors are spectacular with red maple. So a nice balance is always a good thing. And that also gives you a hedge against pests or diseases that might come along that might target particular species. And if you have all oaks, for example, and there's something that comes through that kills oaks, you've lost all your trees. You always want some diversity in your woods for wildlife and for visual quality and for just diversity.
I remember Dutch elm disease.
Yeah.
Because I come from Montreal, and there was one street that was left and right 100% beautiful, tall, manicured elm trees. They were just so well spaced. And I used to love walking down that street, and now they're gone.
Yeah, and all that shade is gone.
I know. Well, let's move on. What do you want to do next, Mr. Tom Ward?
We could walk around to the walking trail on Bluff Farms.
We're going over to Bluffside Farm, folks.
Yeah.
Put on some comfortable shoes and come with us. We'll meet you over there.
So this is a beautiful stand of trees. This would have started at the same time. These trees are probably all about the same age, and I would guess 80 to 100 years old, maybe. But they all came in at once, and because they were growing so close together, the ones that remain have grown up very straight with no branches. So this red oak, this beautiful red oak here, is probably at least 40 feet to the first branch, and it's just a real beauty. But there was a lot of competition, and the trees that a lot of the trees that were here have died off. They lost the race for life and got shaded out, and even some of the ones that are in here now are dying because they've fallen behind.
What's the prognosis for the trees remaining in their lifetime?
Oh, it's good. These are all long-lived trees. So red oak, yellow birch, there's hemlock, white pine, and they all can live 200 years. So they'll be here for a long time yet.
Fabulous. Let's go and take a look at some of the characteristics up close and personal.
Sure. The red oak, what they say about the bark,
Oh, sorry.
it looks like a racetrack. There you see these long, straight swatches of smooth bark and then furrows in between. But you see that smooth, shiny bark going up in long bands. That's a classic red oak. And then we see yellow birch.
Oh, let's walk
right
over there.
Here. Similar to paper birch with the peeling bark, but much finer and more shiny. It's a beautiful tree, and it will live to be 300 years old.
So will I.
Paper birch might have an average lifespan of 50 to 80 years, and yellow birch maybe 150, 200, up to 300 years, much longer lived. It also makes beautiful furniture. It's a harder, more durable wood than paper birch. You can make furniture from paper birch also, but yellow birch is much more beautiful. And both of them produce a seed that birds like, so it's a good wildlife species also.
It's funny that we're standing right here because I used to come over here during the summer with my roly-poly raccoon to teach him how to be wild. And there was one tree not too far distant that was actually throwing acorns at me. Shall we go over and find that?
Sure.
Tom has just discovered one of the wild growths on a tree. I don't think it will propagate, but smile. You're on my camera. Welcome to NEK-TV.
One of the species in here that is very common is eastern hemlock.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful tree. It's a little bit threatened. Its habitat is declining. It likes to be in cool, shady, moist locations, and it's just been cut so heavily that there's not as much left of it as there used to be. There's also a insect further south that's been a problem, the hemlock woolly adelgid. And I don't think
what did you call that?
Hemlock woolly adelgid. It's a aphid.
Okay.
But I don't believe it's reached Vermont.
Touch wood, literally.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful tree. It's, again, a long-lived tree. It could be over 300 years old, and there's a lot of hemlock in here.
I planted a lot of them on my place.
It's very, very shade tolerant, so it can grow in deep shade and hang on until it has a chance to get up into the canopy and grow faster.
Speaking of canopy, is it pouring rain?
I think I hear some raindrops.
We hear it. We need it. We certainly need it.
Yeah.
Well, let's move along. Take me somewhere in here that you find interesting. We're at Bluffside Farm, folks.
Oh, let's go over to this snag. So we have a little opening where there's some dead trees, and dead trees have value. They're important wildlife homes, and they provide material for salamanders and other critters, the large chunks of rotting wood. And this opening that has been developed here by 3 dead trees, it looks like a hemlock and a couple of maples, probably red maple, is where there's some seedlings coming up, some young trees, and no doubt red oak from the acorns that I see the red oaks around here, and probably black cherry will be coming in this little opening here. You can see a little cluster of young trees. I think this might be basswood. But anyhow, you see there's a group of young tree seedlings here. Because there's light, there's more light.
I hadn't noticed those seedlings.
Yep.
And it's not because I'm not wearing my glasses, it's because if you don't know, you don't know.
The red oak in this area, this bluff road area, is very interesting because it's a concentration of red oaks and you don't see that very much this far north in Vermont. It's mostly further south that you see a lot of red oak.
Why this anomaly?
I think it is probably because Native Americans brought the acorns here. They were essentially creating a acorn orchard because they used the acorns for food. And I met someone recently with Abenaki heritage that told me that her grandmother used to make different kinds of breads and things from ground up acorns. So I think they found a good spot. I understand that this was a area that they used at least for like a summer area, and I think they brought the acorns here and essentially cultivated them to provide a food.
How far apart should a person plant such trees if we were going to plant a bunch of acorns?
If you've got an open area like my front yard, approximately 10 by 10, no closer than that, to give the trees some room to grow.
It's important to know where to plant, because I know, looking at my place, how I planted my trees too close together on the magic walking path.
The other thing that's easy to do is to plant a tree too close to the house.
Oh, yes.
A tree that will grow to be a large size, and you look at that and, I think we should have planted this a little farther from the roof line.
That's so true. Have you done that?
Yes.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I had my shed fit in between several trees that form a nice little box around it.
Yeah.
And I know that in 5 years, something's got to go.
Yeah.
I know. Let's go and look at the shoreline here, and you can talk about what you think is important for the riparian zone.
Sure.
Okay, be right there.
There's amphibians that live in this rotting wood. Squirrels can use it, and of course it provides fertility to the soil. But this little sapling here is an American beech, and it's another tree that will grow in full shade. So you see it's thriving, and it's completely shaded from above, but it's hanging on. And they produce
But it's dead at the top. Excuse me.
Pardon?
It was dead at the top.
Yeah, it might be, or it might have just dropped its leaves from the top.
Hope so.
It's a species that does retain its leaves. You'll often see young beech in the understory of a woods, and they still have leaves on right through the winter. It's one way to identify them. But it produces a nut that is important wildlife food. Together with red oak, it's one of the trees that provide a lot of food for wildlife.
Would we be able to eat that nut?
Yeah, it's small. I think it's about as big as my thumbnail.
That'll do. Peanuts
And-
aren't much bigger.
The squirrels and the other wildlife are so good at finding it that it's hard for us to find very many. I find that's true with hazelnuts too.
Good for them.
They're better at this than we are.
Very much so. What do you think of this root formation?
Oh yeah, that tree probably got started on an old stump that has now rotted away and just decomposed. It's a hemlock. And they like to grow in rotting wood and other decaying plant material, so
Oh, amazing.
it's right at home.
One of the things I do love about being in Bluffside Farm, looking at the root systems of the trees.
Yeah.
They're magnificent.
You can see this yellow birch has what we call a buttress root system. It's got this spreading root at the bottom. The stump is spreading out and giving it the support.
Does that mean they don't go too deep? It's just pretty much a surface root?
Shallow rooted, yeah.
Okay. And what is the deepest root that you'd find around here? I mean, look at the tall trees.
Yeah.
And they all seem to have the buttress root somewhat.
These all grow in wet kind of environments. And so that's one reason why they might be shallow rooted. But the oaks and the pines will be deep rooted. They tend to be tap rooted. And we do have some pines in here also. There's white pine as well as red oak.
Okay. Well,
So it's a really nice mix of species in here.
very much. I'll tell you what, let's go over to the swamp, better known as Scott's Cove.
Yes,
And you can talk to me about what's growing over there.
you bet.
I'm turning off.
I see a red pine here, and there is native red pine in this part of the world. Island Pond is probably the best known location of it, but it's much more common further south. But we do get some red pine, and it requires full sun. So the reason it's growing here on this little bank is because it's south facing and it's got an opening, so it's in full sun. So unlike hemlock, it needs full sun. Hemlock can grow in shade, but red pine needs full sun. So we see a lot of hemlock here, maybe because it is so wet and close to the pond. Another tree, I don't see any here, but cedar is
Cedar right up
water loving.
Is
So yeah, you'll see it in riparian areas and around streams.
Well, that's good to know. We have a huge cedar part about a quarter of a mile from here along the path. Might not drag you there today.
Okay.
But this is Scott's Cove, everybody who's watching. And if you haven't been to Bluffside Farm off Bluff Road in Newport, Vermont, please do come. What you'll see here is not only a variety of trees and wildlife, but breathtaking beauty. And I count my lucky stars that I live close by every day. Winter, summer, fall, and spring, there's always something to see over here. And even if you like to meditate, you can always find a nice, comfortable dead log and sit on that. And so we'll continue along with Tom Ward.
Yeah, it's a red maple, and they do decay easily. The wood is not durable. So heart rot decay has begun, and so it's kind of hollowed out. And of course, for something like timber production, it's not good. You can't cut a board out of a rotten log. But for wildlife and just diversity, it's got a place, you know.
Well, Roly Poly used to come over here and I'd let her dig there for, well, half an hour and I'd just watch.
There's no doubt a lot of insects in there.
And how long do you think this tree will stand with this injury?
Who knows? maybe next year, maybe 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks as though it's been bleeding sap right here.
Yeah.
Is that what causes this scar tissue?
Yeah. I mean, that is a sap that's oozing from a
Poor baby.
wound. Yeah.
And it's really
Got
close to...
a big old hole on the side here too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going over there. I will fall on my face.
Like a large branch fell out.
Oh.
And, you know, honeybees, if they find a big enough cavity like that, they will move in too, and you'll get a bee colony inside a tree.
What do you do when you come across one of those in your labors?
Just admire it.
I do too.
And I do try to trap wild honeybee colonies, so I would put a swarm trap nearby and see if I could get a swarm that came out of that and get one for my apiary.
You have an apiary?
I do. Yeah, I've got 5 colonies.
Congratulations.
And all of them were caught in swarm traps. So
And they're happy with you?
Yeah. Now, I have no way of knowing if they are from a beekeeper that is just down the street or down the road, or if they're from a wild colony in the woods. But, you know, it's like fishing. You cast your bait and see what you can catch.
Fantastic. What do you use
caught
for
5.
bait?
A box that's just the right size with some old combs in it. And I also use a little attractant. There's a chemical marker that they use to tell other bees that this is a suitable home to swarm into, to move into.
You just put a little dab behind your ear.
Yeah, it's like that. It's a little puff of spray that you put at the entrance.
Oh my gosh, how many to a swarm?
Oh, there could be 20,000 bees in a swarm. They're all different sizes, but they could be as much as 20,000.
Well, twice this summer I stepped on underground bees.
That would be yellow jacket wasps.
Yeah, I can't even go into the pain.
They're not friendly.
And 6 weeks later, I was still itching in other parts of my body.
Yeah.
I went to the hospital and they said, that's the histamine that is still releasing from the number of bites you had.
We had an outbreak year this year because it was so dry.
Oh, is that
so?
why?
Yeah. There were a lot of ground nest yellow jackets and the bald-faced hornets that build the paper nests up in trees. I see a lot of them now. Now that the leaves are off, you can see the bald-faced hornet's nest up in the trees.
Well, they're nasty little rascals when they come up.
Yeah.
When they get into your shorts and you can't get them out, and they just continue doing their damage.
Yeah. They're very aggressive.
I know. And I thought I was aggressive until I met a bee. But I'm a Canadian. I'm not aggressive. I just apologize to the bees.
There you go.
I'm sorry I stepped on you.
Yeah.
All right, off we go to find more adventure.
The bark is completely different on these older trees, and I actually, when I first encountered yellow birch, I wasn't sure what it was when they get to be this big. But the bark becomes more platy and not so fine and papery. So it has a much different look to it.
It does.
But this could be 150 years old, I'm guessing.
Oh, I know how it feels. I bet it has a really tough time getting out of a chair.
Yeah. It's in a good place though. It's got its canopy, its top right up in full sun. So that's the goal for all of these trees, is to get up into the top of the canopy where it's got full sun. And
They're competitive little rascals, aren't they?
yes, very much so. And if you fall behind in the race and get too much in the shade, the trees just die. And that's part of the process. I mean, we see down logs all through here of trees that lost the race for light and dropped out. Now, you can do that on your own property. You can do that to kind of accelerate the process, like you have done, Heather, on your property.
Yeah.
Just pick out the trees that you really want to keep and just accelerate that process of thinning out the forest.
Yep. If you want to do that, folks, just go to Pick and Shovel. Get outfitted with whatever you can handle. They'll teach you how to use it and then fix it when you break it. And with any luck, you won't cut off a finger. And you'll have healthier trees.
Now, something that we see here, there's very little growing in the understory. And that's just a function of how dark and shady it is in here. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you wanted more growing on the soil, on the forest floor, the way to do that is to thin a few trees out and get a little more light to the ground. And frankly, there's a certain amount of soil erosion that will occur. This isn't a very steep slope.
No.
But if it was steeper, when there's nothing on the forest floor to hold the soil, there will be a certain amount of erosion. So getting light to the ground can be a really good thing if you have a forest, you know. Allowing a little more diversity on the forest floor is always a good thing. Shrubs, grasses, wildflowers.
Excellent. Well, let's see what the next adventure will bring.
This is the yellow birch that blew over, it looks like. But you can see how shallow the root system was. It does grow in wet areas, and of course we're right next to Scott's Cove here where the soil is very wet. So shallow root system, it was exposed to the wind from the southwest, the prevailing winds, and no doubt it was just too much for this tree. But you know, this now has made a patch of bare ground that will be a good place for oak seedlings to come up, and other birch and other tree seedlings will fall in on this bare soil here and take off. So it's just a step in the process. But this will be a place that will grow young trees in the future.
And look,
That looks like an
styrofoam.
Old that's styrofoam.
We'll have styrofoam trees growing. Oh my goodness. What will they think of next?
Boat dock.
I know.
Yeah.
Where's our dock? If you look over here, is that not a...
Yeah, that's a cedar that looks like it's not going to make it. But there are some that are making it here.
Yeah.
So
but
again, it's
take a look at the
tree.
wangle, how it's fought so hard for a life. Look how it's so
Gnarly.
Well, it looks it's gnarly. It's arthritic.
But they do like wet soil, so this is their habitat.
oh, good. Well, as you can see, after this drought, we're standing right here, and if you pan out, this was all underwater until this summer, and now there's a puddle here, but it doesn't actually extend as far as Scott's Cove. It's linked, but mostly mud only in there.
If you look along the shoreline, the far shore here of Scott's Cove, it's all needle leaf trees, mostly hemlock and cedar, I suspect, and probably some white pine. But that it likes that, those species like that shaded, it's a north-facing slope on that bluff there, and they like that moisture, so hemlock is especially likes that.
No, marvelous.
And then you get up a little higher and a little drier, and that's where the oaks and the birches are, along the tree line, higher up.
Now you know those beautiful tall pines.
White pine.
White pine.
Yeah.
I have a stand of them in my yard,
Yes.
and they form a perfect circle,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a holy place.
It's like the giant sequoia of the eastern hardwood forest, or the eastern forest. If you, even on I-95 at 70 miles an hour, if you look at the hills around the interstate, you'll see scattered trees that are standing 20, 30 feet taller than everything else that's growing out there. Those are all white pine. White pine is the tallest growing tree and the fastest growing tree in the eastern forest.
Are they dangerous around a house?
Oh, well, they're usually well rooted, so they're usually very sturdy. But of course, a big tree close to a house there's always a possibility it's going to drop a big branch or...
Somebody came into my yard and said, "We looked at this property, but we thought it'd be really stupid to build a house, but you did it anyway." And yes, thank you very much.
Those are sturdy trees. They'll outlive us.
Oh,
Easy.
I want to live to be 140 at least, or maybe 300.
Yeah.
But that'd be worth it for the adventure. Look at the canopy of leaves over us.
Yeah.
Isn't that magnificent?
Another red oak.
Yeah. What kind of oaks are there? Not just red oak.
There is some bur oak in the area, and I think if you look hard enough, you might find the scattered white oak. But it's mostly red oak that grows in this part of the world.
What are some of their characteristics so we can know the difference?
Bur oak has rounded leaves, and red oak has these sharp pointed. That's probably the easiest way to tell.
Okay.
The acorns are a little different also. They're more knobby, not so pointed.
Would you be able to shape that into a round oak A different kind of leaf.
If I took the points off,
And we're going to have crafts now, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
it would
Get your
be
crayons.
rounded lobes instead of pointed lobes
Okay,
on the bur
very,
oak.
very nice.
Yeah,
Well, 3 cheers for the leaves. And oaks really hang on to their leaves for such a long time.
yeah. Yeah, they drop slowly, which is kind of frustrating if you're a homeowner because you have to rake them and then they're more and you rake them again and so it's not.
In some pagan societies, the oak is a holy tree. For instance, Druidic society, nobody would harm an oak because they would form their circles of prayer in the oak groves. And that was way the heck back in time in what is now England. So, do you think some of these trees were brought from here or from there only, or were they native to here too?
Oh, the red oak is native to here. Yeah, everything we've seen so far is native, and that's great. You know, there's places where there's invasive trees that are really pesty, and we don't have that problem here, fortunately.
What do you think of sumac? Sumac tree?
Oh, it's another native tree and it has wildlife value. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear people saying
Sumac.
it's poisonous, but my
I'm
dad
not
used
sure.
to transplant it into one of our backyards. You know, he was quite the arborist, and I didn't know.
Nice fall colors.
Yeah.
Bright red.
It's very
beautiful.
dramatic.
Yeah.
But I have no complaints about any of the trees here, at all. Not that anyone would listen to my complaints. So, red light on. Yep.
So this is eastern black cherry, and it has a very characteristic bark. It's been described as looking like burnt potato chips.
Oh,
but
they've been at my house for my cooking.
So it flakes off in these little flakes, and it's very uniform. We can see another one right over here, and just like its name, it is a very dark color. It looks a little bit like charcoal.
Yeah.
And it's a very valuable tree. Obviously, they make beautiful furniture from it, and this bottom log here is very nice. But it also provides pollinator habitat when it's flowering in the spring, and then of course the fruit is food for birds. So it's one of these trees that has multiple benefits for wildlife, for timber, and for diversity. You can see another red oak here. You see that striping appearance where it's got those smooth stripes, vertical stripes going up and down the tree?
I don't know whether
It's been called racetracks.
Okay.
But anyway, that's a classic example of what red oak looks like. And of course, if you can identify a tree by its bark, then you don't have to worry about the fact that there are no leaves on this tree anymore. You know, leaves are the characteristic that most people use. They're a very good characteristic for identifying trees, but what do you do when the first branch is probably 60 feet up there, or at this time of year when the leaves are all on the ground? So that's when you need to be able to identify the tree by its bark.
Yeah. Well, that answers some questions for me because I've been told that I have black cherries on the property, and I always pretend I know. Well, of course I do.
It's another one that's long-lived. This tree is probably 40 or 50 years old, but it could easily live to be 300. So.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Very, very
It's another
encouraging, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this tree behind you with the cut right up the top, right in the middle.
Oh yeah.
What's going on there?
You know, that's actually two stems that have grown together. That was a forked tree. I think if we walk over here, yeah.
Ooh.
It actually be two different trees that have grown together. Yeah. These are two trees that have grown together.
Oh, they seem to be getting along.
Yeah, yeah. They're closer than a brother.
I think that's legal here.
So
Right.
this would be a red maple,
Oh, it's gorgeous.
and I've seen this before. It's something that they do.
And one is much older than the other.
Yeah, this wouldn't be.
And so this one
Most
just
likely.
kind of
Grew together.
grew together.
Yeah,
Aw, together we stand.
yeah. We have a beech behind us here
Oh,
with the smooth bark and the leaves that are still on. And Another very good characteristic is the bud. It has a long, sharp-pointed bud. This would be beech.
Okay, let me try and find that in my camera. Well, folks, can you see that pointy thingy?
American beech.
Okay. So now when somebody comes to my house and says, "Where's the beach?" I'll say, "Well, see the woods over there."
Yeah. There's actually several here.
And what is their claim to fame?
They produce a nut that wildlife like. They often, as they get older, will hollow out. So the classic Pooh Bear tree is a beech.
Is that right?
With a big hole in it and, you know, a hollow stem. So they make good firewood.
Well, that's good to know.
And we can see several beeches stand behind us here.
Yeah, we are in heaven right now, folks. Take a look. The ground is covered with fall leaves. They're all uniform color these days because they've already frozen. And there is one of my first teepees from about 6 or 7 years ago. And it's only one internal wall where I don't do that anymore. It's all a foot thick or 2 feet thick now, so they'll stand longer. But these are very good for wildlife, folks. They can go to Jed's Maple, out on Nelson Hill, I believe, and go and talk to Steve. He will tell you all about the importance of maintaining certain trees, what you can look for to keep them healthy, and what is causing some disease. And he'll tell you the importance of teepees for our little beasties.
He's managing his sugar bush for wildlife.
Yeah.
Through a program with the Vermont Fish and Game. I think it's just called something like Maples for Wildlife or Woods for Wildlife. But
he does everything. When I was there once, he said, "Oh, milkweed, don't touch it. It's for my monarch butterflies."
Monarch butterflies,
and
yes.
he said the monarchs will come and breed and lay their eggs in these. I went, "I never knew."
The flowers on milkweed are very valuable for all pollinators. So my honeybees make a lot of honey from milkweed. It's a very important pollinator species, not just monarchs, but others too.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing words for our audience, everybody? Mr. Tom Ward.
Just enjoy the woods. We have fantastic forests in Vermont. And if you own some woods, don't be afraid to manage it. It's okay to thin it out, open it up a little bit, create a balance of species in your woods. You might have too much of one species and not enough of another. So be open to the idea that you can do a little bit of management and actually improve the health of your woods.
And may I recommend that everybody join the MWA?
Yes. Memphremagog Watershed Association.
It will teach you more than you didn't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and you haven't got questions to ask, and they will give you a vocabulary to even deepen your knowledge, if not your curiosity. Thank you, Mr. Tom Ward. You are such a lovely guest.
My pleasure.
And you're so blinking knowledgeable from Alaska to California and beyond.
Yeah.
I'm glad you ended up putting roots down here.
Oh, it's the most beautiful place we've ever lived.
Say it again?
Newport is the most beautiful place we've ever lived.
Well, that's an understatement, but thank you. On behalf of everyone at NEK-TV and YouTube, thank you, Tom Ward. And thanks for watching Life is Good, everybody. Well, folks, I've just said goodbye to Tom Ward in my driveway, and we walked back from Bluffside Farm in a freezing drizzle. And we said goodbye, and then we started talking spirituality and how his faith and his relationship with beings in the woods have solidified his belief that everything's connected. Now, I don't care what religion, faith, or non-faith you have. I don't think we can deny that we're all connected. The trees are connected through their root systems. And when you see a flock of birds flying, they do everything in sync. And what we talked about is how, in this day and age, most of the problems we have with mankind is that we've ceased to be in sync. That doesn't mean we have to think alike, or act alike, or do alike. We just have to respect another person as being part of the same human condition. We're joined by some invisible energy. I call it love. You can call it anything you want. But somehow talking with Tom, who at 29 joined the Peace Corps, which is, according to his little pamphlet, says the hardest job you'll ever love. And I've heard that as its symbol of what it is when you join the Peace Corps. And goodness is everywhere if you look for it. So when you're in the forest, think of how the animals, the trees, the flora, the fauna, how they couldn't survive without one another, and they accept the differences. And then just apply that to your everyday living to mankind. We're all different, but we all have the same naked soul at birth. Things have just been imprinted that take away our acceptance of one another. I spend an awful lot of times in the forest. Growing up, I was in the woods all the time, alone most of the time. And I think I'm the luckiest person in the world to have done that. But it's healing. So go on out in the woods. If you're in Newport or anywhere in the Northeast Kingdom, you can find woods anywhere. For a nice little walk where you don't have to climb hills, Bluffside Farm, right on Bluff Road in Newport. Gorgeous, beautiful, healing, unifying. In the woods, we're all together. So thank you very much. And Tom Ward, he knows more than trees. He really does. He knows humanity. Mwah. Thanks.
Rockin' Robin, rockin' Robin, slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock you.